Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
A reporter was interviewing a 104-year-old woman, and he said, "What do you think is the best thing about being 104?" And the lady looked at him and replied, "No peer pressure." How true. Good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. On our program for a Wednesday, a beautiful day outside. Enjoy. Patriots, call with the pledge. Oh, good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, and we thank all of 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best of everything: tires, brake service, and, of course, service. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with some of our great advertisers, like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Without further ado, it's time for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sounds like wheels.
Yes, sir.
All right, give us the pledge, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Attaboy, Wheels. Thank you very much. Hey, right now it's time for the weather forecast, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, my goodness sakes. Yes, sirree, Bobby. They've got a great, big, huge display of flooring, tile, wood, carpet at a very economical price. You check it out today. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. They can help you, I guarantee it. You give them a call, too, if you want to, 678-6945, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we are moving and grooving our way through the work week. Looks like sunny skies for today. Going to be really, really nice. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 67 tonight, low of 40. Tomorrow, sunny, slightly breezy, and 73 with an overnight low of 42. That nice weather is going to stick around for Friday, sunny and 76. But unfortunately for the weekend, looks like we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Yesterday's high was 54. The overnight low was 32. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. Very well done. Brought to everybody this morning by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, my. Hey, I want to remind you about some things coming up. We've had some calls, and people are already asking about when the April Lunch Bunch will be. Well, it's going to be on April 21st, which is about 2 weeks. So plan on that for the 21st at, of course, Denny's Restaurant in Burley. Speaking of which, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. You know, if you haven't eaten there, Please just look at your spouse and say, let's get in the car and go. You will absolutely love it. I mean, the portions and the quality of the food, outstanding, and the different menu choices and the service, it is definitely America's Diner. Stop in today at 611 Overland in Burley or 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. America's Diner, Denny's restaurant, waiting to serve you. I know some other folks that are waiting to serve you, and that's our friends with Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. We'll be talking to Rita tomorrow on Thursday. Is it going to be Thursday tomorrow already? Holy cow. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And the number to call, and maybe you've got something you want to discuss about your heating and your cooling needs or whatever, call 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, with warm winters and cool summers. You know, my German grandmother used to just shake her head in disgust and say, ay, 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 ay. And when things teed her off, whether it was politics or whatever was going on, she'd say, ay, 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 ay. Well, if she were alive today, we'd be hearing a lot of oy, 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 oys today regarding what's going on. The Wisconsin primary, and I'm not going to dwell on this too much this morning because I'm kind of fed up with the way things are going. The Wisconsin primary, Cruz beat Trump. Okay, plain and simple. Ted Cruz did win Wisconsin over Trump. Okay. And the anti-Trumpers this morning are just giddy. Why, they're dancing on the lawn like lawn fairies. And, oh, we beat him, and now we're going to take the nomination. We're going to get all the delegate votes. Really? Really? You know, I'm not saying anything against Ted Cruz. I think he's a very qualified candidate. But, you know, it just seems like the whole movement right now is, well, Trump signed on to be a Republican, but we don't like him. We don't like his callous nature. We don't like this. We don't like that. So we're going to do everything we can to create an anti-Trump atmosphere. And they're just giddy. I mean, my goodness. And then on the other side of the aisle, you have to be a little bit worried this morning if you have any conscience about the saving of America. Bernie Sanders, avowed communist/socialist or vice versa, however you want to look at it. Wild-haired Bernie taking and wanting to take 90% of our income and give everything free to everybody, beat Hillary again. That's 7 out of the last 8 primaries. Now you might say, oh, well, yeah, he's just a flash in the pan. That's a pretty doggone big pan. And Bernie continues to amaze people. And the young people, look behind him when he's on television. Don't watch Bernie. Believe me, he's not worth looking at. But don't watch Bernie, but look behind him and look at the faces that are pushing up the Bernie Sanders flags. Young, 30 and under. They want freebies. They want government to give them, feed them, protect them, house them. And this man right now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you laugh at me and say, oh, Bernie Sanders, never happened. Well, what happens if Hillary and all the charges against her, the allegations, we'll say, turn into charges, and she's wearing at this time in 3-4 months an orange jumpsuit with a number on the left lapel, and he may be the Democrats' only candidate, and maybe the young millennials and those that want everything handed to them on a silver platter, maybe they'll propel Bernie into the White House. I mean, as I look at politics today, anything is possible. And right now, this is really scary. Now on to New York and then Pennsylvania. And there's another fly in the milk. John Kasich. You know, why? Why is John there? Other than being a stick in the water. John Kasich, even with what he has done and won, is still in fourth place. You say, well, wait a minute, how could he be in fourth place? There's only 3 candidates on the GOP because Marco Rubio dropped out. Well, that's what I'm pointing at. Even with what he has done and won, he still would be behind if Rubio was still in the contest. John Kasich still would be fourth. And why is he still there? He's like a acne pimple on a clear face. Your comments. Come on, give me a call. Let me know what you think. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. By the way, I want to say thank you again to Zach and the rest of the crew at Minnecasia Sales. We had I had a lot of calls regarding Dr. History yesterday, and they sponsor Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06, and they're located at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport, and they can help you with all the remodeling of your house. I mean, man, they've got all the lumber packages, they've got all the shingles to put on a new roof, they can upgrade your windows with those great Western windows. I mean, and they've got the people that can get the job done and done right. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, 878-2091. Oh, come on. Be nice. Call. Don't sit there. You know, the thing about this show, and I've said this many times, I got to have your opinions to kind of balance everything out here today and on any topic. Good morning, caller. I appreciate your call.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
What about us old fogies? Don't we have anything to say about government anymore?
Well, what do you mean? I didn't exclude you. I didn't exclude you from the mix. What do you mean?
Well, you know, Bernie Sanders is, you know, the young people are all flocking towards him. Where is our delegation of older people who are on Social Security and everything? What is he going to do for us?
You know something? You know, Keith, hold on a second. You bring up an excellent point this morning. And I'm going to chastise some folks right now, and I think they are worthy of being chastised. Let's say the senior citizens in this country, of which there are huge numbers. Where are they? What are they standing up for? What are they condemning? What are they promoting in politics for a better America to get things back where they should be? Where are they, Keith?
I don't know, but the thing that is very, very distasteful to me is the fact that they want a $15 an hour wage for just about everybody. And us old folks, where do we fit in?
Yeah, that's the whole point. But why aren't, and please, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. Please understand that. But you and I are basically in the same age range. Where are the other people like you and I? Why aren't they speaking out? Why aren't they getting involved? Why aren't they stepping to the forefront? Why aren't they condemning what's going on with the lack of morals in this country? The lack of political needs and necessary ability to get the job done. Where are they? Why aren't they speaking out like they should be?
Well, I can tell you one reason why is because our politicians are not interested in Idaho because we're a small drop in the bucket of the big picture.
I disagree.
You know, so people say, well, what's the use? There's a lot of use. We need to speak out and say our piece because maybe our governor will maybe mention something about, hey, what about us old folks?
Well, okay, stop just for a minute, Keith. Hang on. You made a point there. You know, I maintain, and if the senior citizens in this area want to beat me up, go ahead. That's fine, verbally or whatever. the Meals on Wheels program, let's talk about that a little bit. You know something? They have got to show the numbers. They have got to show the force. They have got to show the vocalization. They've got to stand up for issues. The government wants to cut back more on what they have created as a stipend from the Meals on Wheels. They want to cut back. They want to cut back. They want to take away Social Security. They want to cut back on Medicare, Medicaid, all these type of things. But nobody stands up and says, not in my life. No, I don't see a show of force from the senior generation. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. And you know what really teased me off is the fact that if you're not old, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does matter. It matters a lot. You know, I spent, as a businessman, thousands of dollars on the Meals on Wheels. I furnished them a van, and I furnished the maintenance on it for about 5 years. And I never had any participation from any other auto dealer or any other organization except Mr. Gas. He stepped up to the public.
Well, here's what I would like to see. Honestly, I would like to see this. Tell me if you know this is going on, and then I'll apologize. I would love to see the senior centers develop a political group at each senior center. And in that political action group, they're making demands, and they're making waves, and they're making statements, and they're making news about what's going on with senior living and what's being taken away. Tell me if you know of any groups like that.
No, there isn't any, because everybody's so busy doing what they think they have to do that they don't have time to think ahead.
Don't have time? Wait a minute. Stop right there. This is where I really get offended. I'm not going to mention names naturally, but I have had people, I've had senior citizens come up to me and say, well, Zeb, why don't you do this? And Zeb, why don't you bring that up? And Zeb, why don't you call so-and-so? And I just get furiously mad with these people and say, well, why don't you do it yourself? Why don't you get involved? Why don't you become a mouthpiece? Why don't you join the band? Why don't you learn how to march? And I am sick and tired of standing there all by myself and looking over my shoulder and not seeing anybody stand with me, Keith.
Well, the problem is you're preaching to the choir. The listeners you have are of the older group.
That's not true. That is not true. No. Don't classify my listeners, because we have a lot of younger listeners, and I'm going to say age brackets from 32 on up. So I don't want to classify it as an old age hearing aid, can't get out of the chair society. That's not true.
I understand what you're saying, but what I mean, yes, the older group of people who seem to think they've done all they can do and let the rest of the world go by. They figure they can't do any more because we're older.
Well, why should they depend on people like you and me to do it for them? You know, this is the whole thing. Just because you turn a certain age doesn't mean that you turn over responsibility and you turn over being an American citizen. You don't. I mean, that's even more, I think, functional for them to get up out of a chair and do something so they can keep and maintain what they fought for all their life.
Yeah, Social Security was never meant to be a lifestyle. It was meant to be a help to you to enjoy your waning years. And boy, these waning years are not looking as good as they used to.
I got to do a commercial. Keith, I am way over. I've got calls waiting. God bless you, man. Thank you for a very good conversation. Thank you.
You have a nice day.
You too, buddy. Caller number 2, I promise. Just have patience with me. I'm way late on a couple of things. I'll be right there. Stand by. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, my goodness. They can help you get rid of some of those aches and pains and and maybe you've had surgery and you got to get back to where you were. Well, they can help with all the exercises and the sports medicine and the hydrotherapy pool. That is a neat deal, that pool. And like I said, they'll help you get back to being and getting back to you. That's right. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They are excellent. 678-1191. 678-1191. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump, you and your family will always enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead.
Good morning, Seb. You know, there are tons of people that are out there helping the senior citizen centers. There's people that do the Meals on Wheels. They donate their gas and their cars. There's the churches. I know my church has given millions of dollars away to senior citizens just in the last year. They did $1 million giveaway last Sunday to the needy in the area. Modern Woodman has given money. The Lions clubs and the other clubs around have all given huge amounts of money to the Senior Citizen Center. There's people out there working to make it work. You're one of them that has donated tons and tons of time to help them do and, you know, to have stuff so they can be there. You know, there's a lot of people working.
Yo, wait a minute, Jerry. Wait a minute.
There's a lot of us seniors that are out there voting.
Wait a minute, Jerry. Jerry, let me get in here. Jerry, let me get in and share part of the conversation with you. Hold on just a second. I'm not saying that people aren't helping. You're missing my point. The point is that the senior citizens, that age bracket in our society, is not being vocal about what's right, what is moral, what is needed, and what is being done. They're not standing up with a voice. I'm not saying anything about people that aren't helping. Good Lord Almighty, I'm very thankful for all the people that get involved. But I'm saying they're not standing up and speaking for their generation. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that might be true.
It is true.
Quite a bit. And I talk to other people all the time. And I'm really upset with what's happening in our government right now, but I've been upset since the last election. Well, and before that, I've been upset for several years with a lot of things that our government is doing. It is turning towards socialism.
All right, but Jerry.
And I don't like it.
Jerry, wait a minute. Then why aren't there groups, like I said just a few moments ago, at every senior center, political action groups that are going through things that are happening in their community, their state, and the nation, whether it's in regards to Social Security, Medicare, whatever. They should be forming groups of power to speak out. And when Crapo or Risch or Simpson or anybody comes into the area, they should go en masse and just really plead their case and make their demands. That's what I'm talking about, Jerry.
Okay, and I understand where you're at, and our veterans ought to be doing the same thing, and, you know, there's a lot of people on our side of the fence. And I'll do anything I can do to help if we can get somebody to keep it going or get it going.
All right, now you know where I'm coming. I'm not talking about labor forces and people helping. That's the furthest thing because there's so many people involved. But you, Jerry, have got to understand, and I think you do, that we need absolutely to create a loud voice, organized voice against what's happening to the senior generation in this country.
Well, it isn't just the senior generation, it's everybody. You know, these guys that are unknowledgeable about communism works and how socialism works and what happens when them guys get the power, they're blind.
That's right.
They have no idea. They've been fed crap in school all the time they're growing up, and it's our fault for letting people like this get in them type of jobs.
I agree with you. Hey, man,
They've been out there for years. We fought them all our life.
I agree with you, Jerry. Wait, Jerry. When you pause like that, I think you're finished, and then we walk over each other. We can't do that. We can't do that because it doesn't sound good. When you make a statement and you finish a sentence with a period, don't wait 3 seconds and then start up again. We can't do that. I agree with you, but I'm going to wrap this conversation up by saying you're a dear friend, and I know that you've been actively involved in a lot of projects. My point is that senior citizens, veterans, I don't care what the organization is, they've got to become vocal, and they've got to start movements to tell the government enough is enough.
Well, I agree 100%.
All right, buddy. Whew, God bless you.
Keep on doing what you're doing. I like that screaming zap.
Okay, you take care of yourself. All right, bye-bye, Jerry. Thanks. All right, thanks. I mean it. I would love to have, whether it's Rupert, Burley, Twin Falls, whatever, start these political action groups within, oh, well, we can't. Oh, no. Why, we're too tired. Why, we've got to get ready to play bingo. Baloney. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and the lovely doctor over there, Christine Pickup. I mean, there are so many things that she knows about hearing and audiology and sound or lack of, and I just absolutely want you to take the time to give her a call and find out if you're having hearing problems, why. She can tell you. It might be disease related, or it might be something with your heart, your medications, whatever. But please check it out, and she knows. And that's Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. You call for a hearing screening today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have said for a long time that the only way, and it's not just me, it's not just any other talk show host, it's you, and you, and you, all of us. Man, if there is not a better time to become organized and fight back this insanity that's being imposed upon us by our government, I can't think of any other time in our history. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh my goodness, with all the equipment to get the job done right, whether you're leasing or buying. And right now is the time to buy a Coyote tractor. Why? Listen to this. 0% interest for 60 months. 60 months. Can't beat that deal. You better check it out today at Berry Equipment and Rental. Really nice people. They can help you with all your equipment in Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I was just listening to your spirited debate with the 2 over-the-hill guys, and I'm one of the over-the-hill girls. But you know what? We have a big responsibility. We need to tell our young people. We need to visit with them. We need to help them see what's coming down the road. And I have a feeling that because of the gap between the seniors and the overworked the people who are raising these kids, they just don't have time to look at things with a microscope. We need to be the people telling the tale of what can happen to this country, and it can happen with one election. And if our kids are not informed, they are voting for the shiny object.
Well, okay, Chris, let me jump in on this conversation. Number one, do you think I'm right or wrong that those of us that are seniors absolutely should be forming political action groups and demand that we maybe have somebody go to a school assembly and tell exactly what's going on? Demand that we try to go to some of the service organizations, whether it's Kiwanis, Rotary, or whatever, and start doing something to fight back. Do you think I'm wrong on that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And there's a lot of life in the voices that have talked to you before me, and I want to live my life until my voice just can't make it, because we are the ones who can talk to our kids because we have experience, and the parents are so busy trying to make a living, they're kind of left out.
I can count on one hand, and my wife is just right here in the studio, the amount of people that have ever called me after the program and said, by golly, Zeb, you're right. What can we do to help? What can we do to help? I get most calls that say, well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And that's where I lose my temper, Chris, because other people have got to get involved.
Well, and the senior citizens are the ones with the knowledge. Rather than playing chess all afternoon or, just hanging out with your peer group, go into the elementary school and ask if you can't help. Because that is the very best way you can influence those little kids. It isn't by what you say to them. It's by how you represent yourself.
Amen.
And these kids are starved for grandparents.
Yes, and we could also start our own little salute to the flag in America with some value systems that, yes, we could open our mouths, and yes, we can tell them about the values of this country and how it's been the greatest country in the world and a beacon of hope to the rest of the world. We can tell them about how our economy and our capitalistic attitudes are the best and the world's leader. But nobody's doing that because they're just not showing the energy.
Well, and look at the candidates who are running for office. How much are they talking about the American work ethic?
That's right.
How much are they talking about the people who are senior citizens that are still working because they love to work? What is the matter with using the examples of the wonderfully blessed people in this country and using them as reasons why you get up in the morning and go to work every day?
Amen.
When everybody else is promising you a free ride.
Amen. I am so glad you called. This is a topic that burns me. It takes the wax right off the candle. I'm mad about this because there's got to be more people getting involved. Chris, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, bye-bye.
God bless. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Stay there. I really treasure your call. I'm just running a little bit late. Stand by. Rogge Auctions is going to have a huge community consignment auction this Saturday starting at 10 a.m. at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. They've got trucks. They've got pick-em-up trucks. They've got chainsaws. They've got shop equipment. They've got all kinds of things over there at this big sale. And they're going to be taking items for the sale right up till the day before on Friday. That's coming up this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Rogge Auctions presents the great big community consignment auction. Don't you miss it. It's going to be great. Also, real quick, I want to remind you, where in the world did I drop that? Here it is, Sophie's Chatterbox. What a great place to go to eat, restaurant and bakery. It is delicious. Every Monday we give away a half dozen cinnamon rolls. Ooh, the food is delicious. At Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street, right on the square in Rupert. You stop in and see them today. Thank you, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
One other issue that's coming up now is the demand by the Muslims to have prayer mats in the schools so they can have their prayers, which means that the people who have Catholics and have children in school, they should demand to have their altar in schools.
If our governor
should have their own room so they can practice their religion.
Yeah, if our governor is going to veto a bill, if our governor is going to veto the bill that says, no, we can't use the Bible as a reference for education, then I absolutely will not allow prayer mats or anything from any other religion, the Quran or whatever. If it's good for one, it's good for all not to be involved. And I won't see any slippage or weakening on that whatsoever because I will come down hard on them on this radio program.
Oh, I'm sure glad you're in there, Zeb. Keep on doing what you're doing.
I will, my friend.
One of the best on the air.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for being my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Ed. Bye.
No, I'm serious. That should be something that I know a lot of the senior citizens right now are absolutely cussing me. Oh, what's the matter with that Jeb Bell? Why, we put together our life, and now it's time to sit back in the lazy boy, the geezer chair, and just take it easy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Everybody, I think, has a certain amount of time and effort that they can contribute for a better world. And just because someone turns 65, 62, whatever the age might be, that doesn't give you a free license to sit back and just absorb like a sponge. I'm not. Why are you? I'm 68 and I have no plans of retiring. I don't want to retire. I love doing what I'm doing. And I love sticking my neck out there into subjects that a lot of people go, oh man, I better not go in that area because my neighbor might not like it. I couldn't care less if my neighbor likes it or not. If something needs to be said and has to be said, it's going to be said on this program. And I think the senior generation is lapse, very, very lapse in doing what needs to be done to promote what their needs are and help for the betterment of America. There. If you're upset about that, send me an email or call me. Here's the number, 312-2976. Or, better yet, call me on the air. 436-2244. All right, while I'm waiting for your call, I'll probably get many, many after the program. That really infuriates me. They got a chance to really go after me on the air, but they won't do it. The 44th Annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale is going on now, today. It starts today, and it goes through Saturday at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon. I do know a lot of people that go up to that great big mule and horse sale from this area, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Caller, I'll be right there. They're going to have all kinds of things. A great big mule clinic, and they're going to have, of course, the Round Pen Mule Challenge. That's going to be interesting. Backcountry horsemen are going to have a packing clinic. They're going to have cow cutting in the outdoor arena, ranch horse competition, barrel racing. Oh, my goodness. Along with the mule sale and the horse sale. 44th Annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale, April 6th, today through Saturday at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Ed?
Yeah, talk to me. I'm waiting for you. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Hey, this is Clarence, and I drive a school bus, and you was talking about not retiring. I'm 70, well, I'll be 73 here pretty quick, and we're doing a lot of discussion with the kids on different subjects and stuff. You know, I'm all the time talking to them about different things that's going on with the government and what their feelings are about it. The kids I all or anywhere from kindergarten to high school.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions. Have you thought about maybe pooling some resources with other people, other seniors your age, and asking the school if you can't conduct certain classes with questions and answers or whatever? That's the approach that we need to get. I commend you for speaking out and saying what you're doing, but we need more people like you.
Well, thanks, Ed, but I haven't really thought about going out there and gathering guys up and or people up and having discussions with them. But yeah, it's something to think about and possibly step into it and see what we can do.
Well, here's the deal. I'm sure that you know my dear, dear friends, George and Donna Mass. And George, I'll use him as an example. He is doing all he can to try to re-implement the idea of we should be so proud of this American flag. We should be so proud of its heritage. We should be so proud of the people that have fought and given their life's blood for the freedoms that we have in this country. And he's fighting to make sure that the school systems are aware of this. We need more people like him. him. We need more people like you. And if it's the seniors just sitting back and not doing anything, that's a lost generation because of all their knowledge. It's being wasted. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I do. I agree 100%. And it's going to have to change. We're going to have to change this thing because it's not going the right direction.
Amen. Listen, for what you do, I compliment you and I salute you. Thank you so much for your call this morning.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right.
You keep up the good work, bud.
All right. God bless you, my friend. Thank you. I like that. He says he's talking to the kids and explaining things. This is my point. We've got to let people know America, the greatest country ever. Oh, there are those that are liberal dimwits or dim bulbs. Oh, well, we don't want to be number one. We don't want to let people know that we're better than they are. I don't care. We are better than they are. We have worked hard to be the beacon of hope for the entire world. Why are we throwing it away? Caller, your patience. I'm asking everybody patience because I'm running late this morning. Stay there. I'll be right with you. I've got to get a weather forecast in here for Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South, 450 west of Paul. Oh, Scott does a great job with his staff. They know trees. They know bushes. They know all about pruning. They know exactly what's best for the tree or the bush health. Oh, my. And they know all about sprinkler systems, too. Now's a great time to put one in. Call them, 431-8733. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we are moving and grooving our way through the work week. Looks like sunny skies for today. Going to be really, really nice. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 67 tonight, low of 40. Tomorrow, sunny, slightly breezy, and 73 with an overnight low of 42. That nice weather is going to stick around for Friday, sunny and 76. But unfortunately for the weekend, looks like we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Yesterday's high was 54. The overnight low was 32. That is your weather for 7:30.
Great job. Brought to you by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South, 450 west of Paul, 431-8733. Thank you, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you've been talking about seniors like going to the schools and sharing their knowledge. Well, that can't be done. The teachers union will not let you teach the kids anything because you don't have a degree.
No, that's not true. I speak to a lot of high school assemblies and everything else, and I dare say that if we started a coalition of retired seniors that really wanted to promote America and everything underneath an organized name and banner, we could apply to speak at various schools and assemblies and other groups and organizations. I think by saying, you can't do it, that's a lazy man's way out.
I've tried. You'll be fighting the teachers union the whole way.
I don't care if I have to fight the teachers union. I don't care if I have to fight every principal or superintendent in the area or the state. Something has got to be done because we're losing the battle of what's right and wrong in this country, and also losing the battle of telling these kids about how great a country they live in so they can appreciate it. And I'm not going to give up just because you say, you lose the battle to the teachers union. I don't quit.
Well, all I can say is I've tried, and they wouldn't let me do anything.
Well, good. Let me see what we can do as a unified group, and then get back with me in about 6 months, and we'll see who is losing and who's winning, because I'm not going to quit. If I can do it on the radio, we can do it face-to-face or en masse with a group. I honestly think we should not quit.
Okay, if you can actually get them to listen to you, because they won't listen to me.
Well, somebody better. And I do salute you for your efforts. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. That's the attitude I don't like. Well, I tried, but, they said no, and I can't do this. You know what? It's time to go toe-to-toe with some of these people and or groups and or leaders and or whomever. I can hear the conversation going on in some cars and some offices and some homes right now. That old Zeb, he's on a soapbox this morning. He's all wound up. Well, get wound up with me. Here we have, I think, and I'll use this word, one of the trashiest elections coming up in November ever. We don't have very good people running for the presidency of the United States. The guy or woman that's going to sit in that chair in the Oval Office, the leader of the free world, oh my, what great choices. Choices? This is ridiculous. And then you look beyond that to the House and the Senate, the greed and the lying and the absolute distortion of what's going on to the American people. What in the world happened to American politics? And you know why it happened? Is because people aren't speaking out. It goes right back like the dog chasing its tail because groups like the seniors and others aren't being vocal enough and not slamming their fist on the table and saying enough is enough. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Tip my water over. Doggone it. Don't forget Penetron Soil Conditioner by Maisie, with a 22-year proven record of increasing yield and quality of all Idaho crops. Oh my goodness, year-long crop and soil benefits are also realized with the use of Penetron by Maisie. You know, it gives great speed germination, reducing crusting, improving stand, stimulates root growth and microbial activity, and also builds soil structure, and that results in less clods and dirt at harvest, and man, that really, really helps. Penetron treated crops have better roots and better crop performance with a proven soil conditioner, Penetron by Maisie. Get the original, not the cheap imitations. Contact your crop advisor to obtain Penetron soil conditioner. You know, if I could get 10 people this morning, 10 people to say to maybe 10 of their friends, you know what, we got to get up and do something. We can't sit back and be sponges anymore. And become politically active. And make sure that if you have to, you got a SUV or whatever, you can go around and pick up some people. And when Crapo or Simpson or whomever comes to town, you just sit there. And when it comes time for questions and answers, get up and look right in their face and tell them what you think. And demand answers. And demand that something be done. They work for us. We do not work for them. We should not cower for them. We should not take our hats off and hold them in our hands and go, oh, please, Mr. Politician, this is what we need. Help us. No, we should demand. That is the word that I will use, and I'll stand behind it. We should demand because they work for us. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Well, I probably made everybody mad this morning. Holy smokes. Oh, dear. Well, that's just the name of the game. I'm not in this to make friends. I'm in this, hopefully, so that we can make for a better America, a better society, a better state, and a better locality. My goodness, let's talk about our major sponsor right now, and that's Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. My goodness, they've got that backcountry all-terrain tire. Caller, I'll be right there. For pickups and SUVs, exceptional all-season performance and quiet, comfortable ride. Great looks and a road grip all in one. That is a neat tire. And many of their tires are on sale right now for spring driving, summer driving. Oh, you better get in there right now today. Very convenient credit terms are available, and they've got all the custom wheels to dress up that four-wheeled wonder. Best in brake service, and oh my goodness, have they got the batteries. All the different batteries for every need. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy, my buddy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, an example of this, of people standing up in Washington, the state of Washington, when the water that drains from central Washington down into Seattle, into the Puget Sound, they are literally taking taxpayer money, the EPA, to poison the people of Seattle and the surrounding area, and I don't know how many people that would be, with ad campaigns that you and I pay for, to poison their attitude about the farmers and ranchers upstream.
Yeah.
Because everything they do is polluting the water.
Yeah.
And you see, these stupid... You say, okay, how many of you people in Seattle go down and buy butter, milk, beef, food, wheat, bread? I mean, these people are so stupid.
Well, you know, the denigration, hold on a second, Randy. I'm running out of time, and I want to make sure we get a pretty good conversation in here. The denigration of the American farmer and American agriculture is absolutely, it's insane. And anybody that would denigrate our American agricultural programs absolutely should be, I think, locked up in a cell because they don't know what they're talking about. Number one, we have the best, underline the word best, farmers and ranchers anywhere in the world. We have the safest products. We have the safest regulatory systems. And for people to condemn and damn American agriculture with their full mouth and their fat belly, that's insane.
Well, the fact that Bernie Sanders can stand there and bring up Scandinavia as an example as to what we should do. The people in Scandinavia don't have enough money they don't even have a car, and hardly any of them own a home.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that isn't America.
That's right.
You can't tell even these spoiled welfare people. They have phones and cars. I'm telling you, Zeb, and to believe this BS, people are just so uninformed, and they cheer for that guy.
But that's my point over the whole morning, and we got sidetracked. I wasn't even going to talk about this issue this morning. But the point is, Randy, that's what I'm saying, is that if we don't get involved and we don't start clamoring and banging on doors and telling people our demands, this world is going to go down the toilet. And I don't care if it's seniors. I don't care if it's millennials. I don't care if it's the in-between generation. People have got to get informed and get out there and do something.
Well, this is the thing.
I got to go in 10 seconds, Randy, real fast.
Los Angeles, I have a client from Los Angeles recently, Riverside, not too far from West San Bernardino. He told me, you go down to Los Angeles, and he says, it's nothing that you could even imagine, because it's nothing like America used to be.
Absolutely. You know, I wished you would have called in earlier. I've got a bunch of things we could have talked about, but I got to run to the news right now. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it.
You bet. Bye.
Take care. We got to go to the news from CBS. Oh, they'll come in and destroy everything, and then we'll come back next half hour. Dave Bigo coming up next. Wheels, take it away. Oh, goodness. Had to take a long, slow drink of water and calm down from the first hour. But I'm ready to go now in the second hour. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with your major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And we really appreciate their sponsorship. Thank you very much. Along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services. Wheels, how about it? Let's have Western Waste Services, okay?
Yes, sir.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, locally owned and operated. And don't forget all the dumpsters, all the carts, all the roll-offs, all the portable restrooms. Yes, it's time to think about the porta potties, because now you're maybe planning some summer picnics and reunions and whatever. Well, just give them a call. They can help you at Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Want to remind you, too, about Vicky's Country Garden. We've got that Gardening for Idiots program named after me on Mondays. Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Don't forget, they've got a grand, big new shipment of bark in and lots of decorative rock and soil aid and all the chemicals at Vicky's Country Garden. And that's, of course, over in Paul. Really a nice, nice lady. By the way, too, we want to acknowledge the fact that we're very blessed to have Hanson Mortuary on our program, and they have been for many, many years. Thank you. 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, the manager, and, of course, his family and his staff, always there with the very flexible hours to serve you and your family. That's right. And they can also travel to the rural towns and churches to meet with you. When there's the passing of a loved one, they are there. They are ready to serve. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Let us go to the phone line right now and visit with a very dear friend of mine back in Indianapolis, Indiana. Dave Vigo, good morning, Dave. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing fine. How you doing?
You know, this first hour this morning here on the program, and I got really upset over an issue that I think you will agree with me on. I don't care if it's the younger generation. I don't care if it's the in-between start of the baby boomer generation, or if it's the senior citizens. We all of us need to come together and start voicing our opinions and also our disdain for what's going on in this, the greatest country ever in the world's history, America. It's time for people to not just take their hat off and act really cowardly. It's time to get in the face of these politicians and demand. Would you agree or not?
Oh, absolutely. That's the problem, is that politics in Washington has gone amok, and in a lot of states around the country, and it's time for people to wake up and take this country back.
But will they?
Well, that's the problem, and that's why we need people like you and myself and other people to keep getting the word out and talking to people. It's amazing to me, Zeb, that how uninformed and naive people are across the country, and that's what the politicians and the unions prey on.
You know, talking about the unions and preying on people, I mean, it's almost like thuggery. It's almost like a mafia. It's almost like a gang. You do it our way, or look out, you're going to end up in the alley someplace. You, of anybody, knows the dark and kind of dastardly means that unions try to coerce people. What about what's going on with the SEIU? Are they still causing problems?
Oh, well, yeah, and I kind of wanted to write a blog on it, but I've just been so busy I haven't had time. But, you know, California recently approved a $15 minimum wage.
Right.
And this, what people have to understand, this is not about the people at all. This is about the SEIU being able to get in and unionize people and also keep their power in California. And here's a few things that people need to understand about unions like the SEIU. In the 2012 federal election, it donated, and I'm reading this off the article I have, a jaw-dropping $224 million to candidates, parties, political action committees, and out of that, $222,520,000, or 99%, went to Democrats.
Wow.
And then you take this a step further, and this movement to get the minimum wage to $15 in California. They donated $4.3 million in contributions to Governor Brown and the Democratic Party out there, and then just to make sure this got passed, and Brown was hesitating a little bit, they donated a bunch of money to each of the Democratic representatives that were pushing this thing so that they get it passed. And this is what's happening in this country. And at the same time, they're coming out to people saying, we're doing this for you because you deserve more, we do all this. But what it is, it's all about money so that they can control politics.
You know, Dave, with your experiences when you first wrote your first book, The Devil at My Doorstep, and then The Devil at Our Doorstep, you have seen the very dark, insidious side of unions and the coerciveness and the arm twisting. But boy, there are so many people. We only read the paper about maybe the leadership of this union or that, but there must be so many tentacles, if you will, of different groups and powerful people that are out there lurking in the shadows. You probably found that out when you fought the SEIU.
Well, there is, and, that's the thing, and here's the problem, and America needs to wake up to this, is that there's too many people out there with unions and some of their supporters and other people that really don't understand our free market capitalistic system, and they don't know how to go out and work hard and persevere and persist and be successful at something. And they also don't understand, you don't start at the top, you start at the bottom. Just like with me, with my cleaning company, I started cleaning my insurance agent's office by myself, which was 4,000 square feet. And then I went out and I sold during the day. My wife went back to work as a legal secretary, so we'd have some money. And, we scratched for several years before we finally got the thing going. And now today we're in 36 states and we have several other companies. But that's what free markets and capitalism and the American way is all about.
But today, David, honestly, you've hit right on the nerve of what we were talking about a little bit last hour. Today, everybody wants their hand out with a gimme, gimme attitude. And especially the millennials, the younger generation, listening and watching and trying to scotch tape themselves to Bernie Sanders to where they'll get free school, free this, free that. And then Bernie will turn around and take 90% of their income in taxes. What's the matter with America? What happened to us?
Well, we have had government in there, especially the last 8 years, that has increased the welfare entitlement programs, and they keep sending this message out there, and so do their supporters. The unions are a big part of that, and there's others, and they have brainwashed the millennials, and that's exactly what the unions do. They tried to do the same thing when they attacked me. They tried to do it to our employees and our customers. They did it to a lot of the clergy people who they got to attack us because they know these people are misinformed and naive, and they're easy to brainwash.
Yeah.
And because, they paint this beautiful picture in the sky that we're going to do all this stuff for you and you're going to be very successful. And what they don't understand is, again, I go back to this, and it's so simple, is that these people are not for them. These people are for their own agenda, for money for their own pocketbook, for their own political agenda, and quite honestly, their goal is to fundamentally change America, like Obama said.
Absolutely. Now, let's shift gears here a little bit in the time remaining, and I want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Ted Cruz is smiling like a Cheshire cat this morning because he did win the Wisconsin primary. Trump came in second, and then of all people, naturally, Kasich had to come in third. On the other side of the aisle, it was another 7 out of 8 wins for wild-haired Bernie over Hillary. What did that primary yesterday tell you?
I think it's just a bump in the road, honestly. Wisconsin is an interesting state, and I know you're from there. But there's a lot of divisiveness up there between parties and how people look at things. And I think what I saw that 61% of the state's population indicates it's liberal, and they just went more for somebody that's extremely liberal, like Bernie, and of course Cruz is not as capitalistic and that is free market is what Trump is. So I just think that's the way it went. But I think it's a bump in the road. I think when the next one's out, New York, Connecticut, Delaware, and Maryland, I think you're going to see a big move towards both Hillary and Donald.
Okay, now I'm going to say this, and I want your response on this. I honestly think that Trump shot himself in the foot with his own revolver by not saying nice things about Governor Scott Walker. Instead of coming out like a junkyard attack dog, like he did against Walker, I think he cost himself a large percentage of votes when he started denigrating Walker and running him down. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's absolutely true, and as we've discussed on your show before, is I think Trump has to back up and reevaluate how he's doing things. I think he's got some good ideas, but his method of getting his message across is backfiring on him, and I have opponents. I have people in business that they're competitors of mine in that. I don't go out and degrade them. I go out and I just try to professionally show people what the difference is between my philosophy and our company's philosophy versus other people and competitors in that. And we do it in a professional way, and we show them detail on that. And something, when we do that, we win.
Absolutely.
And I think Donald has to be more like that.
Now let's talk about Hillary. I'm amazed. I really am amazed that this woman and all the dark clouds that are hanging over her and her possible nomination to be the Democratic lead for president. I mean, my goodness sakes, we're hearing about the Panama Papers. We're hearing about all kinds of different possible money laundering schemes. We're hearing about Blumenthal and Blumenthal's son honoring terrorist groups like Hamas, and Hillary with the emails. I mean, my goodness, how in the world does she ever stay in this race?
Well, because she has an administration that won't go after her and do their job like they should. And again, we have become a political country, and we got to get away from that. We got to get back to what made us great, and the foundation of this country, and that's people going out and in a free market society and being successful and growing this country, and not politicians. And the people we have in office, and I have to tell you, on both sides of the aisle, don't get it. And they should be going after her, but they're afraid to on the right, with the Republicans, because they're afraid that it could hurt them in the polls, for the elections in November. And on the other side, Obama and his administration are fundamentally on the same page as what she is. So, again, it comes down to politics, and America needs to take the political scene back.
Okay, that leads me right back to where we started. It's going to take vocalization. It's going to take involvement. It's going to take people standing up and making themselves be heard. But therein lies the problem. I don't know how it is back in the Hoosier state of Indiana. I don't know that many of your politicians. I know your governor and people like that. But here in Idaho, we have politicians that supposedly are representing us, but it's very hard to get them involved to talk to their constituents. Whether it's Mike Crapo, whether it's Jim Risch, whether it's Mike Simpson, I don't care who it is, trying to get them nailed down to talk to their constituents, get on the radio, the TV, take interviews, let the public know what they're doing or what's going on. They seem to be removed from the scene. Is that the same problem you have back there?
We have a lot of the same problem, and our governor here is a Republican governor, Mike Pence. Quite honestly, there's a lot of Republicans that are done with him because of just what you talked about. He won't get out and talk to people. He won't talk to the constituents and all Hoosiers, and he would rather sit in his office behind his desk and delegate things, and that's not what it's about. You have to get out and you have to see. It's like in my business. I tell my people all the time that it's all about relationship, and you have to get out in front of your customers and your employees and your vendors and talk to them and know that they can approach you at any time. And the problem is, in the political circles, these people don't understand that. How
do we change it, Dave? I know I keep going back to that, but really, I'm frustrated because when they get elected, they being the senators and the congressmen and the governors and everything else, why do they feel like they're in some kind of an elitist position above the constituency that voted them in? And it's almost like, well, I'll go talk to the little people for a couple of minutes today, and that will soothe their questioning. That's the attitude. It's almost the elitist attitude that just makes me sick.
Well, the big problem, Zeb, is that most of these people, and I was having lunch with the president of a high school here in Indianapolis yesterday, and we were talking about these things, and we were also talking about going back to the millennials, that they don't get it, and that most of them are coming out of school with a liberal bent, and I said, his name was Steve, and I said, Steve, the biggest problem we have, both in politics and in colleges, is that the politicians and these professors have never had to be out and actually work at a true job and work in the free market and understand what it takes to make a payroll and satisfy a customer and do those things. And all they work off is theory. That if we do these are the right things, this should work. And what we really need in Washington and in the higher level governments in our state today are people from the business community, and we've got to encourage them to start running for office and get in, because they understand what it takes to make a business work and to provide jobs and take care of their people.
Dave, I want to go back in the time remaining, and I want to talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to call it what I see it. Crazy, absolute crazy attitude of $15 an hour for low-entry jobs. And what I'm not hearing from employers is enough screaming back at politicians because of the fact it's not just the offering, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not just the offering of $15. It's the reciprocity of all the people that have worked there previously. You've got to up their wages in accordance. And a small business owner with 5 or 6 employees, my goodness, how can they afford these increase surges? It'll put them out of business.
Well, I think the business people are complaining. You don't hear it in the newspaper and that because the mainstream media won't tell you. But it's like when they passed it in Seattle, right away, you had a lot of small businesses close up because they couldn't be profitable anymore. And especially in the food industry, restaurants and stuff like that, you had a lot of fast food places and that go out of business because they couldn't afford it. And we're going to continue to see that. Plus, the other thing is they're going to go to automation, which, is going to eliminate people. And I've already seen it in a couple places I've been in across the country where you go into like a McDonald's, and now you just have little iPad screens in front of you. You order off of that. So what these people are fundamentally doing, again, they're playing politics and saying, we're going to get you more money, but in the background, what they're really doing is going for political votes and campaign contributions. And what they're not being honest with these people about is, we're going to lose jobs in this country because people are going to go to automation or they're going to close their doors.
Well, right there, Dave, elaborate. I got 2 minutes left, but elaborate just a little bit on the lower level entry jobs for teenagers, summer work, that type of thing. Any employer that looks at his bottom line, he can't afford to provide those jobs, can he?
Well, you mean at $15 an hour?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not going to happen. That's what I say. They're just going to... they're either going to find a way to automate and use half the number of people, or they're going to close up shop. And just like, Seattle was a good example, but you haven't heard this in the national media because they don't want to expose what's going on. They don't want people in this country to know what happened. And we should have people in the national media going after this all the time and exposing the truth of what's happening.
I agree. Okay, to close on a lighter note, your Indiana Hoosiers, my Wisconsin Badgers, didn't make it. However, you, as a former basketball player, myself played a lot of basketball, you had to love the way Villanova won that game the other night.
Oh, it was tremendous. I was glad to see it, and those are the type of things you like to see. And North Carolina too has had enough of their success over the past many years, and it's good to see another school come up and not be a number one and win at the buzzer like that.
Absolutely. Any picks now that we're in the Major League Baseball season? Who's your favorite team, and how are they doing so far?
I think you remember the Detroit Tigers are my favorite.
Oh, yeah, I heard about them. They were going to try to field a professional team this year, right?
Get on board and start watching.
I said I heard about the Tigers. They were going to try to field a professional team this year, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I know there's a lot of people disappointed. I was at a store the other day, and I just was standing in line, and the guy behind me had a Detroit Tiger hat on. He was from Detroit, and we were talking about it, and he just had his head down. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I proudly have my Cubs hat right here in the studio, and remember the battle cry, "Go Cubs!" Dave Bigo in Indianapolis. God bless you, man. Thanks for your time this morning.
Well, thank you, and you have a great week.
I will, my friend. Thank you very much. I really enjoy having him on the program. Super nice man. Dave Bigo back in Indianapolis, Indiana, author of 2 books, The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and, of course, his weekly blog. He knows what's going on with labor unions. He is the best. Thank you very much. Got to pay some bills right now. Don't forget the 44th Annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale is starting today. Yes, it is, with the big mule clinic. And, of course, they're going to have the wolf howling contest later on today in the Mule Sale Calcutta. Oh, my goodness. And then it goes through tomorrow and then also on Friday and Saturday. My goodness, all kinds of things. Packing clinics with the backcountry horsemen and, of course, ranch horse competitions, pole bending, barrel racing, and of course the mule sale and the big horse sale. All of this and more going on up at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon this week. From today through Saturday, 44th Annual Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale. It is the best. Hey, by the way, too, don't forget every morning we start the program with a great weather forecast put together by Gina for Gina and China. Yeah, it's kind of those new pets you can watch in the window. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Thank you very much to Cheney's for sponsoring that weather forecast for us at 8:06 every morning. And for all the best of carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, remember Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. In just a moment, I'm going to get on the hotline right up to Boise and talk to a very good friend of mine, and he happens to be the Lieutenant Governor for the state of Idaho, Mr. Brad Little. We're going to have him on the phone in just a moment. Stand by, but don't forget to let's ride. Oh my, at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This is where the fun is sold. They've got all the ATVs, all the colors, all the sizes, everything, all the accessories. Oh my, you open that showroom door, they've got a lot of them. I tell you what, you'll find what you need. All the ATVs for spring and summer fun. And, of course, also the dirt bikes. And, like I said, all the accessories. They've got a fantastic service department. You stop over today at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Let's ride where the fun is sold. Really good, folks. Also, if you're in that area, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh boy, they really care about being dedicated and responsive to your coverage needs, whether it's life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, or of course, employee benefits. They know and they can help you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Make a call, make an appointment, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens, Highway 24 in Rupert. Right now, let's say good morning to a cowboy, a rancher, team roper, and also Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Idaho, Mr. Brad Little. Brad, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb.
It's nice to hear your cheery voice up in Boise. What is going on now that the session is all over and wrapped up for this year?
Well, lots of things are going on. Some of the things that we
postponed while the legislature was in session are now on top of the plate at this point in time. But also, going around the state as much as I can. One thing about it, the weather's better than it. Well, I guess even than it was last week in your case down there. Spring has sprung, but looked like winter in your country just a week or so ago.
It's true. Right here at my ranch, we had 9.5, 10 inches of snow out in my roping arena on a Tuesday, and the next day it was all gone. So, what a change.
Well, we're actually, it's dry. We're working cattle now, and I see it's supposed to get some moisture in the middle of next week, but the wind's been howling down here. You would think I was in Burley or something. The way the wind's been howling out at the ranch, drying things up, but it's still pretty springy across the state. The blossoms on the trees are just gorgeous.
Let me start off with asking you this. I've talked to Representative and senators about this issue. Just recently, Senator Kelly Anthon was on my program. The local newspaper, the Times News, I thought they really denigrated the legislative session for this year. They called it a dud, and they called it a disaster. As Lieutenant Governor, what were your thoughts about what happened and what was achieved at the legislative session for this year?
Well, of course, some of those newspapers, I'm trying to think when the last time they said it was a great session. But, the governor spent 60% of the state talking about education. We spend 60% of the money on it. And, both the legislature and the governor complied with their commitment to the people of the state of Idaho that they would, after we had to cut spending everywhere, during the recession, that we would restore funding in education, and we've done that plus some, trying to make teacher pay competitive so we don't lose our best teachers to other states, and doing a lot of other really good work in education. Particularly, I'm very proud of the work they did in literacy. We've got too many kids that can't read proficiently at the end of the third grade, and we got a constitutional obligation to do that and to get these kids up and reading, and that's, I think, the most important thing. Some of the other things that tend to drain on government to keep us from doing what we'd like to do, which is lower tax rates, have been in the area of criminal justice and mental health, and we've put investments in there so that our incarceration rate, actually the Department of Corrections has given money back to the state, which I've never seen happen. It's always before they wanted more, but they're doing a really good job out there of reducing their prison population and keeping the bad guys in so we're safe, and getting the other people out on parole and out being productive members of society. That didn't get hardly any publicity. It's a big deal, and it'll free up money for tax relief going forward. And obviously the mental health issue. There's going to be a mental health facility in the Magic Valley, and if you're a county official and know what some of those mental health issues cost your community, it's really important. So I know they're disappointed in the Medicaid issue expansion, but there's too much uncertainty at the federal level. We're going to have a new Supreme Court, we're going to have a new president, and we're going to have a different Congress, and to partner up with a untrustworthy partner like the federal government at this point in time is probably not. I can see why they were very reluctant to do that.
Well, let me ask you this, Lieutenant Governor, and I mentioned this to Representative Fred Wood a couple of days ago on my program. It's not that the issue on Medicaid was all of a sudden dropped when you closed the doors on the legislative session, because Fred told me, quite frankly, that the governor and other powers that be were going to appoint a task force to work on this issue during the course of the summer so that they wouldn't have to go in cold turkey at the next session. Is that true?
Well, that's the of course, Fred's been on Representative Wood's been on 2 of them, and this will be the 3rd one. But part of the reason is because Health and Human Services, whether we like it or not, the federal Medicaid providers are part of our partner on it, as much as we're not very fond of that, because but we have made the delivery of Medicaid more efficient here in Idaho. You know, we really want to resolve some of these critical issues. What the governor proposed and Fred proposed early was these critical issues like diabetes, chronic heart problems, that we get people into the system earlier, so we spend a little bit of money on them earlier, so we don't have to spend a lot of money later when they show up at the emergency room at the hospital down at Burley.
Right.
And everybody agrees on that. They just don't agree on the details of how we get it done.
You know, one of the things you mentioned just a moment ago, you were talking about education, and I'll just state my case, and I want to hear what you have to say in rebuttal or agreement, is, I found it very unfavorable. I thought it was very low class for a certain group to sponsor some ads on television that were demeaning, I thought, of Idaho education, showing them out in the middle of nowhere, getting off a school bus with a no potential future, etc. Honestly, I'm pretty doggone proud of what some of the teachers and school systems are doing. What did you think about that negativity about our students here in the state of Idaho?
You're playing a common theme that I hear all over the state of Idaho. Part of the data that they're using to come up with those numbers is the fact that we're doing SAT tests for all the students, and it used to be the only people that took some of those tests were kids going to college. Well, logic would dictate when you give pre-college entrance exams to all the students, a lot of the kids that, had a job, they knew when they were in the 9th grade that they were going to go work at their dad's sheet metal shop or whatever it might be, or they were going to go into the military, or of course now the military standards are pretty darn high, but I don't think it accurately reflects where we are. Do we need to do more work on education? Absolutely. Do we want to continue to make it to where our product that we, by a constitution, have to put out the door of our high schools are better equipped, whether they go into a career or whether they go on to higher education? But I go to schools all over the state of Idaho, and believe me, I think it's disingenuous to send a message to those teachers that they're not doing a good job. And so I'm in your camp on that, Seb.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm kind of jumping around here shotgun approach this morning, but when you look at the status of politics today on a national level, and I'm seeing the sleaziest, lowest form of politics, I think, in my lifetime, and I'm 68 years old. What are your thoughts from both sides of the aisle as to how they're leading the charge to promote any certain person for the presidency? I think politics has hit an all-time low. What are your thoughts?
During the session and the rest of the year when I'm over here at the Capitol, I'm not here as much now as I am during the session. We have students come from all over the state of Idaho, and I'm lucky, and of course a lot of them from Burley, and I always talk to them about the requirement in a constitutional republic that you have a civil debate about policy issues, and that whether you're on the same side of the aisle or different side of the aisle, that you got to have a dialogue, because you got to resolve these issues, because you're representing, once after you get nominated in a party process, you're representing everybody, whether they voted for you or not, and you got to listen to them, and you've got to respect the position of your opponent. You don't have to agree with it, but you have to respect it enough to where everybody's point can get on the table, where you can go on and improve government and make it more efficient. And so it's such a bad message to I think, young people about this is the way politics, because sometimes the loudest screamers are the winners, and I just think it's not conducive, because we've got a lot of problems, particularly in the federal level, that got to be addressed. And if everybody shows up at the table so mad at each other that they can't get anything done, I think our problems at the federal level will get worse.
Well, let me ask you this then. Brad, let me ask you this question then, because you kind of touched into my next area of asking this. What about the national representatives that are leading the charge for the presidency, and they're talking about energy, they're talking about the economy, they're talking about national security? What does the federal level play in how Idaho grows or lessens in the future? I mean, how does it affect the state of Idaho?
Well, of course, I really like Idaho's position. I wish we weren't quite as big a partners with them on the federal domain, all the federal lands out there. But, the fact that Idaho's got one of the lowest debt, highest bond ratings and lowest debt of any of the states, I think regardless of who gets elected, whether it's the most conservative Republican or the most liberal Democrat, and there's a big spread between them, I think the states are going to have a challenge. The federal government needs to go back to doing what the Constitution wants them to do, and the states are going to have to do more. This goes back to our discussion about health care earlier. We're going to have to resolve a lot of these problems, and all the states are. But because Idaho, we are one of the fastest growing states, perhaps even the fastest right now, we've got one of the best balance sheets. Compared to Illinois or California, their pension funds are broke, and that's not only for their state employees and their teachers, but it's for local county employees, etc. The fact that our balance sheets is just like something you and I understand well. Two ranches right next to each other. One of them's got a terrible debt load, and they can't invest where they need to, and the other one's got a manageable debt load, and they did the right thing. Well, I view Idaho as being in a much better position compared to the other states because of the problem the federal government, and I think they're just going to have to give more and more authority back to the states, whether it be transportation, whether it be health care, whether it be education, all those things that aren't necessarily constitutionally mandated by the federal government, so they can focus on what they need to do, and that's keep everybody safe, make sure that commerce is efficient between the states, and go back to their constitutional challenge. And so I like Idaho's position just because from a competitive standpoint, we're in a better position than most of the other states.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a quick question. Go ahead, caller, for Lieutenant Governor. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Brad, I'm sure you're going to run for governor when Bush retires. And when I read articles about Jay Inslee from Washington, who believes in global warming, and he seems to think that the farmers and ranchers and dairymen of Washington, for some reason, are polluters and don't matter. And you say, how in the hell can it be? And then Governor Brown from Oregon, I think she was instrumental in creating the thing that came to a head that resulted in Roy Finicum being shot. And she's a Democrat, he's a Democrat. These are our neighbors. And what are you going to do to try to seize control as much as possible? I know it's not totally possible, but to get the federal government out of our hair. And I'll hang up. Thanks.
Okay, Brad, would you respond, please?
Well, I think we should look at all options. If we had a different president, things would be quite a bit easier. When Clinton was president, I sued the government on the roadless plan, and then we got a Republican president in there, and as a result, Idaho is one of the few states there's only two states, Colorado and Idaho, with our own roadless plan. There's a good neighbor provision of the Farm Bill to where we can get more of these forest grounds back. On the BLM ground in your neck of the woods, I think that a lot more of the authority ought to rest, the management ought to rest at the local level, and they can do that. They're required to have some input, but there's these overlapping federal laws where you can't do the right thing. Everybody agrees that we've got to take better care of our forests so we don't have these big forest fire bills. I've fought a lot of fire in my life, not a lot of forest fires, but lots of range fires, and there's some things that just common sense dictates that we do more of it. I think one of the governor's initiatives, the RFPAs, where the local ranchers are first on the fires and get them out, are really working in part of the state. We're just going to have to take more of that management back from the federal government. The issue of suing and getting the deed back, if we could do that, I'd be all for it, and I'm not opposed to it. But I also think we need to do any incremental steps we can in the interim to where the management is more efficient than it is right now, because it's just not efficient.
I've only got about 3 minutes left, Lieutenant Governor, but I want to ask you this, and I know that it wasn't your hand on the pen. It was Butch's regarding the veto of Bibles in schools. Give us a synopsis, if you would, as to what Governor Otter's concerns were about letting a Bible be part of the text in Idaho schools. Why did he veto that bill? What are your thoughts?
Well, and I haven't, because it just happened late yesterday afternoon, and I haven't read the veto statement, but I did read the Attorney General's opinion when the bill was being debated prior to final passage, and even on the debate on the floor, it came up that we have a code section that allows reference to the Bible in a lot of areas right now. The issue was this bill far enough along to where, and we had threats, credible threats, and the Attorney General concurred with them, that it was going to be litigated, and in effect we default back to the current law, which allows educators to use Bible as a historical reference in certain areas. And it was, and I'll read the governor's veto, but it was just so diametrically opposed to some of the language in our state constitution that I assume that's what the governor's got in there, and I don't know that there will be any change from what can take place now, but I listened to that debate on the floor, and I thought they made a pretty compelling case for it. But there's also, our language in our Constitution is pretty categorical about, overt references to, and of course it's always which Bible, that's part of the issue too, is which Bible you use. So I think that was his logic, but I haven't read his veto message yet.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot here with a simple yes or no. I've enjoyed the conversation immensely, and all I'm going to do is ask you to come back in the future. Yes or no?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
I hope everything's well on the ranch. You do a wonderful job on the program, and I'm very honored to have Lieutenant Governor Brad Little on the program this morning. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.
All right. Good to talk to you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Always a gentleman to me, my wife, and wherever we've run into him, he's always been very, very friendly. Come over and give you a good slap on the back and a handshake. Lieutenant Governor Brad Little, and I'm thankful he had time to come on the program here this morning. Holy cow. I can see old Wheels. He's over there wondering, why aren't you going to the weather? Well, I am right now, and it's brought to everybody by Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, with rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we are moving and grooving our way through the work week. Looks like sunny skies for today. Going to be really, really nice. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. expecting a high of 67, tonight low of 40. Tomorrow, sunny, slightly breezy, and 73 with an overnight low of 42. That nice weather is going to stick around for Friday, sunny and 76. But unfortunately for the weekend, looks like we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Yesterday's high was 54. The overnight low was 32. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Great job. Great job, Gina. Thank you. And it's brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems. They provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric with Lennox. Call them today at 678-0459. Calls are welcome. We've still got some time for a couple of calls. I want to wish some of the nicest people I know a very happy anniversary. And today is Rocky and Becca Matthews' birthday, and believe me, you couldn't ask for better neighbors. You couldn't ask for better helpers when you have a little emergency. They're always there. And I just have nothing but good things to wish to this couple for many, many, many more years. Rocky and Becca Matthews, happy anniversary. They just live down across the pasture from us. And, man, they're trying a new venture with a sheep dairy. And if they can stay together through the building of this sheep dairy and the processing and eventual milking of the sheep, boy, they made it. Happy anniversary to Rocky and Becca today. There you go. Really nice people. By the way, there's some other nice people I want to talk about, and I lost the nice people's ad. Where did it go? You know, I can be sitting here on this program holding something in my hand, and then all of a sudden I'll turn around and I'll go, what in the dickens did I do with it? I lost it. And here it is right here. Thank you, Zeb. Cutting Edge Curbing at 424 16th Street in Rupert with Sarah and Mike Baxter. Now, I'll tell you something. You can really add some beauty and value to your property with the curbing, and it comes in all kinds of different colors and stamping on it, and it can be a slant edge, a mower's edge, a square, or a dome top curbing, and in different colors and different stamps like the cobblestone and the slate and the basket weave. I mean, it's beautiful. Beautiful. And what I would suggest you give them a call at two numbers, 808-3360 or 260-2583. And the name of the business, Cutting Edge Curbing at 424 16th Street in Rupert. Really nice people. What else have I got here right now? I see the Times News. You know me, I'm not going to run away from an issue. I see the Times News was gloating, and their op-ed piece this morning saying a failed refugee measure, a victory for Twin Falls. And they went on and on and on about how they were so glad that a effort to pursue a ballot measure that would have called for the closing of the College of Southern Idaho Refugee Center failed dismally, they said in their words, and they were so glad. And then some of the excerpts out of their op-ed said, "We couldn't be more pleased and proud. To us, the measure's failure is an affirmation of the strength and character of our community." And then it went on to say, let's see, let me read that one line. They were talking about Rick Martin that was trying to promote the signatures. If he can put his puppets in control of CSI, he might just be able to close the refugee center. And they said that despite the rantings of a tiny minority, you know something? A lot of people didn't know about the petition. A lot of people weren't asked to sign the petition. And a lot of people would have signed the petition. And I think a lot of people are very concerned about the refugees coming into this area. And for the Times News and CSI to diminish their worries is an affront to them and a slap in the face to those people, me included. And I think we're going to hear a lot more about the possible bringing in and introduction of bigger numbers of refugees into this area. People are not happy with what's going on. We're going to take a little break for about 7 minutes, and when we come back at 10:06, we're going to be talking to Cade Rogge, auctioneer, rodeo announcer, and Rogge Auctions has a great big sale coming up this Saturday. We're going to talk to him about that. And then at 10:32, Dr. Grazie Pozzo Christi talking about some of the language that Hillary Clinton used regarding abortions. So don't go away. We'll be back in about 6 minutes. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, here we go. What's the temperature outside? I've got to check that real quick. Let me see. I got to pull the weather up. It's 52 right outside my door. Thank you very much. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with a major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, absolutely. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Hey, by the way, too, I mentioned it last hour. I'll mention it again. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump. You and your family will always enjoy the comfort. Enjoy warm winters and cool summers with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. I get a chance to talk to a really good guy right now, and that's Cade Rogge with Rogge Auctions. Good morning, Cade. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, I got a feeling we just woke you up and you're sitting there kind of sipping on a cup of coffee, enjoying the day. What's going on in the land of Rogge?
Oh, just getting ready for our sale here, Zeb. Just trying to put everything together and get the pieces rolling and get ready for a good auction. You know,
now, Cade, let's talk a little bit about the mechanics of a community auction or putting this together. I mean, what do you have to know? What do you have to do? How do you get it organized? How do you know what to take and what not to take? I mean, it's quite an undertaking. What do you do?
Well, Zeb, this will be our 4th year, and we learn something every year. The biggest thing for us is when we started this thing, you know, we strive to get quality, we strive to sell quality. So there's a lot of things that we look at and we just know what it's worth and that we don't take, and there's a lot of things that people don't realize what they have and what they're worth. And we try to get the best market value out of their items. And that's something that we've learned along the way, along the last 4 years, and I think that we're getting better at. So our biggest thing is kind of market discovery before the sale, and and I feel that we got a pretty good staff going now, and we got pretty good capabilities to do that.
When you say market discovery, that was my next question. I was going to ask you, let's say whether it's, some shop equipment or a chainsaw, or whether it's a great big pickup, how do you know as an auction company and as an auctioneer where to start the bidding on the various objects?
Well, just to have an auction company and be an auctioneer, I mean, you're just kind of an auction junkie, and that's just, it just comes from watching a lot of auctions, going to a lot of auctions, seeing a lot of the same things sell over and over, and you just kind of get a feel for the market that way. In a sense, selling cattle is a little easier that way. I mean, we kind of know the market going into it, and it kind of is what it is, and you're dealing with professional buyers, and you get out of your cattle what they're worth that day. But in the farm sale biz, it's a little bit different that way because emotions take over, and sometimes things that you think that are going to bring $200-300 bring $2,000 or $3,000, and vice versa sometimes. So, it's just kind of what it's worth that day, I guess. But we go to a lot of auctions, and we do a lot of research, and we sell a lot of equipment and stuff online, so that's kind of the inside of what things are going for in a certain year. Farm equipment, pretty much what they're making is what their equipment's worth. If the market for what you're growing is down, well, the equipment the equipment to make that crop or make that product, that's usually down or on the good side. If your crops are worth a lot, then your equipment's usually worth a lot. It's kind of how it goes for us, it seems.
All right. Now, you really wear two hats, though, because you're an excellent young rodeo announcer and an auctioneer. Now, does one complement the other? Which one's the hardest, and which one do you like the best?
Well, I work a lot harder on the auctioneer, and the announcing is this kind of really come to me, and I can't really explain it. A lot of great things have happened for me, and I fell into a lot of great positions, and that career is really rolling, and the auctioneering career is rolling too. I mean, I strive to be the best at both, and the auctioneering it's something that you practice daily, and it's something that you're always striving to change, or always striving to keep going and getting better. And I really enjoy selling cattle and selling equipment. I think, man, it's hard to say what I like. Either one better. Probably doesn't really strive. I like them both equally, but I do know that I've had to work at the auctioneer a lot more than the announcer.
All right, let's talk about being an auctioneer. I mean, really, you're a young man that is very, very proficient in both areas. But now, for somebody that's sitting out there in the audience and saying, by golly, I wished I could have been an auctioneer, how hard is it to learn, and how do you learn the chant or what to do? What do you actually have to do to learn everything about being an auctioneer?
Well, Zeb, I wish every day that I would have went to auctioneer school 5 years sooner than I did. I kind of went a little later in life. I went to college and rodeoed and had my fun there, and when I got out of college, I went to auctioneer school. But there's some self-taught auctioneers, and there's some great self-taught auctioneers, but I personally would not recommend it, and I have no idea how them guys taught themselves to do it. I mean, I went to an auctioneer school, and I was there for 10 days, and even when you leave there, you don't really, you just kind of have a base then, and that's what it is. They teach you a base, and you do a lot of tongue twisters, and it's a lot about rhythm, and once you kind of get your base, then it's just kind of like making a pot of chili or something. I mean, you're adding ingredients, you're taking some out, It's just a constant deal. I mean, I've been at it for 5 years, and I just recently have changed my chant again, and once you change your chant, you're practicing every day, and you're trying to get your rhythm back and get everything flowing again, and then about the time you get it flowing again, then you add something else into it. It's a lot of give and take, and it's mainly about rhythm, and that's the main thing of being an auctioneer. If you have a smooth rhythm and a smooth flow, it really makes it easy to listen to. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
Let me ask you this then, Cade. When an auctioneer, would you agree that many auctioneers, now I'm not saying all of them because I don't know, but do a lot of auctioneers have their own set phrases and verbiage that they always rely on, and they use it at every sale kind of as a comfort zone? I mean, they've got pet phrases. Is that safe to say?
Oh, yeah, that's very safe to say. We all kind of get into our own routine, and a routine kind of makes rhythm, and sometimes that's really good, and a lot of times I'm trying to pull fillers out because if you get a hold of the wrong filler or the wrong phrase, it really throws up your rhythm and kind of cuts up your chant and makes it sound a little choppy. So, but no, that's really safe to say. And when you practice so much, you kind of burn it into your brain, and then everybody's kind of got their own set fillers and their own set phrases, and when you're practicing over and over and you're selling every day or every other day, then that really sticks with you. And then if you want to try to pull them out, it's really hard to do. You kind of have to go back and shave your tongue and retrain yourself, because once you kind of get those fillers and those phrases stuck in your head, they're really hard to get rid of.
Well, now, let me ask you this. When you go to the schools, I would imagine that they're probably playing tapes of some of the world's best auctioneers. Is it hard not to try to duplicate them? How do you keep your own style?
Well, the good thing is, in the school I went to Billings, and luckily enough, you have them world champions teaching you. I'm very high on that school. But, and I had a long, I went to your announcing school, so you know this, and we've talked about this. I mean, to go back to the announcing, what I've really worked on the past couple years is just kind of being myself and making myself come through my rodeo performances. Because something I picked up from auctioneering that hurt me in the announcing world is, to listen to them guys, you can try to duplicate them. You can listen to them guys, and I do it all the time, and I still do it all the time, because the sound of my voice and my rhythm and my flow, even if I'm saying the very same things they are at the very same time, it's going to sound a lot different. But as an announcer, I can listen to somebody over and over, and I can basically do their performance and sound a lot like them and kind of be a cover band of some sort, And that's something I try to get away from when I'm announcing a rodeo. But the auctioneering, it's kind of funny that way. I mean, you think that you can duplicate somebody, but you really can't. I mean, everybody's kind of like a fingerprint. I mean, you can really study somebody and do a lot of the same things, but at the same time, you're still going to sound a lot different.
Well, I would imagine, and you touched on this a moment ago, and you and I have talked about the announcing business as far as the homework and making sure you know what's going on and what should be going on. And then you mentioned about going down the road practicing your chant. It's an everyday kind of a schooling for yourself to stay on top of your game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people around town probably think I'm crazy because I'm talking to myself about 24/7. Walking down the, and sometimes I just can't help myself. I just walking down the grocery store and spit out my chant, just sometimes you got to chant it out. And sometimes you get some weird looks when you're just talking to yourself or driving in your car and you stop at a stoplight and somebody looks over you like you're crazy. But, I've sold a lot of cattle and a lot of equipment to the steering wheel of my vehicle.
There, I love that. Listen, let's talk a little bit about Rogge Auction and this upcoming sale, a big community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds on this Saturday. Give us a little background of what people can expect, the starting time, everything else. Go ahead.
We're going to start at 10 o'clock, and we have upped that from past years. We kind of expect a nice day and it's a nice time of year, so we want to get in there at 10 o'clock and we want to get through our items and get you out of there and get you back in the field. But we're really excited about this sale and what this sale has kind of grown to be. Like I said, it's our 4th annual, and we're going to continue doing this and try to build up a clientele and build up a base. So, if you have farm equipment or livestock equipment or sportsman equipment or shop equipment, anything like that, the second weekend of April, you can come bring it to Rogge Auctions and we'll take care of you at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. And we're really trying to build that up. This is going to be an annual deal. This is, like I said, our 4th one, and we're really looking to the future on this. And I'll be honest, we usually have a really good base and a real good place to start with these auctions, and this one we didn't. We've really just kind of scanned the country and trying to find everything. And 2 weeks ago, if you'd have called me, I'd tell you I was nervous. But man, this sale has really come together, which tells me there's a need for this kind of thing in Minidoka County and Caddo County. And that's kind of where we're headed as far as the business and as far as what we're doing and what we're trying to do in the community. As far as the sale goes this Saturday, I mean, like I said, it is really shaped up. We got all kinds of vehicles. We got a couple big dump trucks. We got some big dump truck beds. We've got sportsman equipment. We got some nice 4-wheelers. We've got a nice bass boat consigned. We got various hay equipment. We've got a Heston 1-ton baler that's only got 30,000 bales on the bale count, and that's a really nice piece of machinery. And miscellaneous livestock equipment. We've got gates, we've got head catches, things like that, and we have a ton of shop equipment. I mean, if you're in need of some shop tools or chainsaws or anything like that, we're your place. And I want everybody to know that if you're just hearing about it now, it's not too late to consign your items. We're going to be there. We're there we're starting there today. We'll be there tomorrow. and we'll be there from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Friday.
Okay.
So if you have anything else, bring it on by.
All right, now, real quick question. A lot of people go to these auctions and they say, holy smokes, it's dinner time. Let's leave for lunch. They're not going to have to leave, are they?
What was that?
I say a lot of people are going to get hungry and they're going to say, well, we need to leave for lunch, but they don't even have to leave. You're going to have lunch right there on the grounds, aren't you?
Yep. We're going to have lunch right there. We're kind of in business with the guy that owns the Manhattan there, just shown. My dad has worked with him for many, many years, and he does a great job for us. So you're going to have an opportunity to get an awesome cheeseburger right there on the place. So yeah, no worries about that. We'll sure feed you while you're there, too.
All right. Now, it's starting time 10 a.m. this coming Saturday at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Rogge Auctions is going to present this great big sale. Now, let me ask you this real quick, Cade. What about if they have questions or they need information? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can call me at 208-431-0074, or you can call my dad, Ron, at 208-431-6187.
All right.
And another great place is our website is, we have to tip our hats to our web designer. They've done a great job for us. Very easy to get through, very easy to see. We take pictures of everything we have consigned so far. And, there's a lot of things that are coming in daily here this last week, but we sure try to do our best to get everything posted on that website. So you can go take a look at that. And we have sale bills hung up in various locations as well. So.
All right, now I'm not going to let you off the hook this morning without doing something special. Right now, you got to give us the world-famous Cade Rogge chant. Go ahead, give us about 10 seconds worth.
All right, here we go. 81, 81, 2 down, 3 down, 4, 84, 85, 85, 85, 6 down, 7 down, 8, 8 down, 89, 9 down, 90 here, 91, 94, 2 down, 2 down, 3 dollars.
There you go.
Morning's a little rough.
There you go. I'll tell you what, Cade, I appreciate you. Best of luck at the Community Consignment Auction coming up this Saturday at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, starting time at 10 a.m. Rogge Auctions managing this sale. Cade Rogge, God bless you, man. Thanks for coming on the program.
Well, thank you, Zeb. I sure appreciate you.
All right, you take care. Thank you much.
Thank you.
There is a great young man, and boy, he's got tons of talent, and I wish him the best, along with Rogge Auctions, that big community sale coming up this Saturday at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds at 10 a.m. Everybody try to be there. Well, I want to tell you something else right now, too. Tomorrow on the program, by the way, phone calls are welcome right now. Give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Tomorrow we're going to start a new segment on this program, and it's going to be at 10:32. It's called Our Second Amendment. And we're very honored to have Ryan Horsley from Red's Trading Post, and he's going to tell us what's going on and what's happening with gun control, gun issues in this United States of America. And we say thank you very much to Ryan and Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And by the way, they have a huge selection of new firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester. All the ammo, all the hard-to-find powder for the reloaders. And they've been in Old Town, historic Old Town, Twin Falls, since 1936. They've got great people that work there, answer all your questions. Stop in and see them today. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And by the way, the starting time on that again will be on Thursdays at 10:30, Our Second Amendment. All right, your turn. I want to hear somebody. Somebody give me a call, and we'll talk for about 3 or 4 minutes. I really don't have any topics to fill in the void here for the next little bit. So give us a jingle on the landline at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what you have to say this morning. One thing I wanted to get into this morning, and I didn't have time, and I heard this story yesterday, and I thought, what in the world kind of craziness is this? Some states, including Washington, D.C., are considering paying, now listen carefully to this, They're considering paying bad guys, criminals, not to commit crimes. What? Yeah, I'm not kidding you. They know a lot of the police and other law enforcement officers know a lot of the bad guys in certain areas. And now there is a movement to try to go to some of these people and pay them, literally, it's like bribe money, not to commit crimes. Ay, ay, ay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, Zeb, why not? We're paying them not to do anything else. We pay them not to go to work. I mean, why not pay them not to do crime?
You tell me something, sir. On a scale of 1 to 10, with America and the politics and our government, I say we're at least a 30 right now with the insanity that's going on within our nation. What are your thoughts?
Well, my view is that the nation has gone completely off its nut. It's gone crazy. Right is wrong, wrong is right. We have politicians who are clear politicians and people who, they're coming from a business community and coming from, it's only been, how long has it been since we've had professional politicians being elected president?
Yeah.
It used to be that they would come out of professional jobs and they would do the job of president, and then they would go back to their job. Now we got guys who, that's their whole career, is just being from one elected office to another elected office, and they have no basis in reality. And this is what we get.
Absolutely. When you start talking... Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I talked to you, but I just wanted to know we've been thinking about you, and we're just in the area for today, and I just wanted to give you a call and say hello.
Well, God bless you, and don't make yourself a stranger. Try to call me again, and you can listen on the computer at zebbell.com. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
God bless you, too.
Thank you very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello again.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a little problem with our state and local government. Like, let's just say county commissioners, and I'm not picking on them, but nobody seems to run against them. Are they really that perfect that they don't have to answer to anyone?
Well, now, I'm not in the knowledge of what particular issue you might be referring to as far as whether they're doing a good and or bad or mediocre job. So I don't know how to comment on that, Keith. I mean, if somebody wants to run for county commissioner and replace a certain person in a certain zone or district, I guess they have the option. I don't know of any specific complaints. What are you referring to?
Well, I'm just referring to the lackadaisical people are that they are not getting involved in our government. I was a commissioner on the highway district for 12 years, and I feel like I've done my part, but a lot of people, it seems like the people who are busy and everything don't want to be involved in it, and that's the people we need to get involved in it. Not saying that the commissioners are doing a bad job, but why doesn't anyone even challenge them?
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, but then, on the other hand, Keith, that's true in almost all aspects of politics. We need more people to get involved. We need more good quality people, i.e., look at the presidential election going on right now in the primaries. I agree with you that we need more people to get involved. We need more people to step up and voice their opinion, going back to what we said the first hour. I agree with you.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to see people get more involved in their local government, because these people are always complaining about these things, but
right.
They don't bring their complaints forward.
Amen. Always appreciate your call, Keith. I appreciate it. God bless and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, sir. Hey, congratulations real quick to the UConn women's basketball team. They made history last night. University of Connecticut women's basketball team won its 4th straight consecutive national title. That is unbelievable. You talk about a sports dynasty. It's with the Yukon women's basketball team. Unprecedented in women's sports, and congratulations to them. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a good morning so far this morning, and we're not done yet. We've got another great guest coming up just a moment. Stand by. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you'd better get a hold of Ramsey Heating and Electric with Lennox at 678-0459. Remember, they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. My next guest is waiting in the wings, and I know she's a good sport because she's been on my program in the past, and I'm going to try to pronounce her name correctly, and then she's going to correct me. So here we go. Good morning to Dr. Gracie Pozo Christie. How close was I?
You were very close. Gracie Pozo Christie.
Whew, man, you make it sound so fluent and so nice, and I kind of chopped it up. Good morning to you, and it's nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Christie, pardon me for the frog in my throat, is with the Catholic Association, and I want you to tell the audience what are your thoughts about what's happening right now with the candidates that are running for president and some of their remarks about the unborn and abortion and Planned Parenthood. Are you a little upset like I am that they haven't done justice, I think, to this situation?
What's going on, I think, is that we're starting to see how people who call themselves pro-life or pro-choice, sometimes they don't really understand exactly what they mean by those terms. So, for instance, Hillary Clinton says that she is pro-choice, but then she goes and calls an unborn child a person. Now, that's a really big statement because people have rights. And I think it shows us that she's not quite philosophically aware of all the things that she supports.
When you say that, Dr. Christie, I'm really miffed. I'm more than that, I'm mad at the disrespect for the unborn, not only in this nation but around the world. And I'm going to be very blunt when I say this. I think way too many large numbers of women use abortion as a birth control device, and I'm very upset about this. There doesn't seem to be the respect for the human life, whether it's still a little embryo, whether it's in the third trimester, or whether it's a baby ready to be born into this world. Where is the respect for life?
Well, women, unfortunately, have been listening too much to the current culture of death, which keeps telling them that abortion is a morally meaningless exercise, that it's a kind of birth control. That's what they're told since they're very young. And unfortunately, we wake up one day and we realize that that's simply not true. Sometimes we wake up when we finally have children and we see what miracles our children are and we hold them in our arms and we remember the ones that didn't make it. We also wake up when we see ultrasounds that shows us that a little baby at 10 or 11 weeks of gestation is fully formed, a real human being. So all women and men have to come to a realization that children inside their mothers are people and that they should be treated with great dignity and respect.
Don't you agree with me, Dr. Christie, that even after all these years and all the discussions, that there's still a bunch of verbal Olympics going on in regards to when a person is a person, when a baby feels pain? I mean, I just absolutely am sickened by the way that baby is not treated with the respect that they deserve. Your thoughts?
I believe that one day we're going to look back on abortion the way that we look back now on slavery. The way that in our country we treated certain people as as human but not people, that we could use them and for our own means, we're going to look at abortion that same way, because the reality is that an unborn child is a human being, a young human being. We were all that small at one time, and we're going to wake up to that one day, and it's going to be a very serious. There's going to be a lot of guilt going around that we were able to go down that road so far as to abort over 300,000 American children a year.
Oh, my goodness. Let me ask you, when you heard the statement by Hillary Clinton say, quote, the unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights, what were your thoughts?
My thought is that she made a huge mistake. Philosophically, she made a huge mistake because of her stance on abortion, on being pro-choice and being pro-Planned Parenthood, because the whole basis of the pro-abortion philosophy is that that what's being destroyed is not a human person. That when a woman has an abortion, you're not losing a human life. So she said, because she's speaking the truth, and sometimes politicians speak the truth, that does happen, is that is a human person. And under our Constitution, all people have rights. And so she certainly put her foot in it, but I'm glad that she did.
Okay, now let's go on the other side of the aisle. And recently Donald Trump was in an interview, and he was asked about abortion and whether there should be penalties and or crimes offered against the mother for having an abortion. And he said, yes, there should be penalties. What are your thoughts about what he said?
Again, this is another person who hasn't spent a lot of time thinking about what it means to be pro-life. Maybe this is a new position for him. And it's very clear that in the pro-life philosophy, we cannot treat a woman as a criminal. We have to also remember that she is a victim, just like the child, a victim of the culture, a victim of the culture of disrespect towards women that doesn't value them properly and support them. Especially the fathers when a child is on the way. So this is, again, another politician that put his foot in this.
What are your thoughts about what has transpired over the last 8 months or so regarding the videos that were shot undercover against Planned Parenthood and the callous nature of the doctors that were interviewed about body parts and how to get the body parts? What kind of a society have we turned into, Doctor?
It's the culture of death is very strong in the United States. We have one of the most permissive abortion laws. We actually in the United States, abortion is allowed through all 9 months of pregnancy. We are in company with only 5 other countries, one of which is China, another one of which is North Korea. I'm glad about what happened with Planned Parenthood and the videos, because it shows us the true face of the culture of death. The face of the culture of death is not sympathetic. It doesn't care about women. It doesn't care about children. It wants to promote the end of life, and wherever it can find it. And unfortunately, the most vulnerable among us are the unborn.
You know, and I know I'm stretching this a little bit to another age and another segment of our society, but honestly, from a lack of respect for the baby in the womb up until birth, and then partial birth abortion, and then we're looking at the other side of the spectrum with a hemlock society about older people, our seniors, just go die and get out of the way. What in the world happened to America and our value of life culture? It's gone, is it not?
This is not a stretch at all. It's exactly the same thing going on, again, at the other end of life, and where we say that a human being's life has no value, and that it's better to choose death than to choose life. So this is a very basic philosophical difference between the culture of life and the culture of death, and we need to fight for life, for the fact that it's joyful and hopeful and good, no matter what condition we find it in. And it's our job to accompany people in their suffering and their pain and not to destroy them.
Okay, but Doctor, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to be pinpointing you into a certain corner, but how do we do this? I mean, kids today, I don't think they have enough of a teaching or a value of what life really is. I don't think they understand because I don't think anybody's teaching them. How do we go about incorporating a respect for life in our culture once again?
One of the most important things we can do is demand that our government respect our churches and our temples, and respect the fact that what we're teaching to our children when we take them to church on Sundays is to really respect all those beautiful virtues and tenets that make our country so great, like a respect for life and other people's suffering and charity and courage, all those beautiful virtues. So we need to tell the government, church is good. This is how we transmit these values, which keep our children safe and keep our country growing strong and the way our country has always been, which is something we need to preserve.
Now, what about yourself? I mean, give us a little background on you. Dr. Christie, what do you do? Who do you represent? And what's your daily routine like?
Well, I'm a radiologist, so I do a lot of fetal ultrasounds, actually, and this is how I got very interested in the pro-life movement, because it's very apparent to me that the fetus is a little live human person. This is a scientific fact. And my second profession is I work for the Catholic Association, and what we do is to be present at the intersection of faith and media, and keep pointing the media as much as possible in the right direction, towards life, towards faith, towards hope, towards the thing that makes us good.
Now, let me ask you this question. With your job of looking at the best of life and hoping and praying for the best of life, has America maybe gone to the bottom and coming back again? What do you see as our culture, and is there any leadership to bring back and restore a value system in America right now?
I do feel hopeful that we have come down so far that people are starting to look around, especially young people, and they're starting to look around and see the results of what happens when you follow a path of radical individualism, where the only thing that matters is what matters today. To me, they're seeing that at home with divorce and unhappiness and people not being able to live together in a joyful way. They're seeing that in abortion and their friends who are themselves who've been hurt with sexual liberation. And even in the craziness of this whole gender thing that's going on right now, and how that doesn't really make any sense to people who are thinking properly. And then they're trying to say, wait, we can be more reasonable. We can be more hopeful and more faithful. So I have a great hope for America that we can turn it around.
Are you seeing some of the negativity and some of the absolute liberal leftisms on the college campuses change to where even the college students are seeing more of a transition back to a respect for life?
I think college students are finding out that when you try to have this perfectly PC culture where only one kind of ideology is accepted, and that's usually the culture of death, let's face it, on most college campuses, they can see that that's not a pleasant way to live, that eventually it turns around and bites them. And yes, I think that they are turning towards sort of classic liberalism, where people are allowed to think and act on what they believe in and their conscience rights. And again, they're seeing the consequences of that kind of life on themselves and on the people around them, and they're rejecting that.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed having you on the program. I'm going to say your name again, and I'll probably mess it up, but I'll do my best. Dr. Gracie Pozo Christie, thank you so much for being on the program, and you can know that I'll call you in the future to have you back. God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. A very, very nice lady, Dr. Christie, and absolutely high on life, and really took offense, and I did too, at some of the remarks that Hillary Clinton made regarding abortion, and the unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights. I think those comments are going to come back to haunt Hillary in the general election, if she makes it that far. You know what? I've got to get a weather forecast in here, and then I want some of you to give me a call, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about to wrap up this morning's program. But first and foremost, the weather. I got to get that on here real quick. Stand by. And then we'll take your calls. But the weather this hour is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, and the telephone number, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. And I've told you all about that tax return meat bundle. Yeah, you can get 70-plus pounds of beef and pork and chicken for only $249 plus tax. Hey, what a great investment. Your hometown meat cutters, Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we are moving and grooving our way through the work week. Looks like sunny skies for today. Going to be really, really nice. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 67 tonight, low of 40. Tomorrow, sunny, slightly breezy, and 73 with an overnight low of 42. That nice weather is going to stick around for Friday, sunny and 76. But unfortunately for the weekend, looks like we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Yesterday's high was 54. The overnight low was 32. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
I tell you, she does a great job putting that weather together for us every day. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Okay, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And we'll talk about any of the stories that we've talked about so far this morning. Another quick story I wanted to get in here, and another cause to have alarm as to what our government is going to do with your and my money. Now, Puerto Rico is broke. Puerto Rico hasn't got any money. They are bankrupt, and they've turned around and said to us, the United States of America, bail us out. And they need our money to stay afloat. But our money from Mr. and Mrs. Retired and Mr. and Mrs. Young Family starting out, Mr. and Mrs. Middle Age trying to save enough for retirement, the gallon of the milk of human kindness in my refrigerator is totally empty. And I'll tell you something, I say no to any more potential bailouts to anybody. Puerto Rico and or Illinois and or California, they're going to be the next ones knocking on the door of the Treasury saying, oh, we're broke, we can't make it, bail us out, taxpayers. It's coming. There are going to be major raising of questions by our states to bail them out. I think it's going to be in the order I gave you. I think we're going to see Illinois throw the red flag up in the air. I think we're going to see the state of California throw the red flag up in the air. If Puerto Rico gets our money for a rebuild, restructure on their bankruptcy, look out. There's going to be people standing in line, and what's going to happen to you and I, Mr. and Mrs. American taxpayer? Give me a call on that, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call real quick. I don't want to run out of time. I want to talk to you. Give me a jingle. While I'm waiting for your call that I just absolutely know is coming in, I want to remind you quickly about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Like I said earlier, they've got many tires on sale right now, like the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, all-season design, and up to an 80,000-mile warranty, depending on how you drive. Caller, I'll be right there, stand by. And along with the best in brake service and the best in batteries for every need, shocks and struts, oh my goodness, and of course, don't forget service. They really take care of you, and they appreciate your business. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Oberlin and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, old friend.
Are you getting back at me?
Well, kind of, sort of.
Okay, what can I do for you, Doug?
Well, bailing these people out, these cities and Puerto Rico and all that, it's like, for instance, as a like you've got a teenage kid, and he gets an allowance, and he overspends, and he runs up a lot of debt, and he can't pay it, so then he wants to take out bankruptcy.
Yep.
With the parent, and the parent bails him out. Well, what did the kid learn from that?
That mom and dad have a checkbook, and he doesn't have to do anything.
Exactly. Exactly. And these cities and countries that do the same daggum thing, what are they learning from it? They're learning that they don't have to budget. They don't have to take care of their their finances.
That's right.
They just go, and then all we got to do is scream, and then here comes somebody, the workers, the taxpayers, to bail us out.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do, Doug, that in this scenario, we have heard rumors for the last 2 years that California was teetering on the brink of insolvency. We have heard for the last 2 years that Illinois absolutely has got their heels on the edge of the cliff. And we're sitting here, and now we're talking about possibly bailing out Puerto Rico, and I'll bet you a box of donuts every day for the rest of your life that when you have one that you bail out, you're going to have the other standing in line.
You got it. I mean, that's just like I was saying, you help one kid a whole bunch and not the others. Yeah, they're going to be standing, well, you help them, help us.
We can't absorb any more of this. I don't want to absorb any more of this. There are those in the audience that are saying, oh, well, what's the matter with your Christian attitude? Wait a minute. It's also against anything that I stand for to keep giving to those that are nothing more than abusers to the system that won't take care of themselves and won't feed themselves.
And they won't learn a lesson by doing that.
That's exactly right.
And here California said, okay, $15 an hour, you got to pay $15 an hour. Well, the businesses in San Francisco are saying, hey, we're probably going to have to move out of state.
I don't think people realize, and some of the insanity is right here in the Magic Valley, with some of the liberal Democrats up here going, hey, yeah, we got to have that $15 an hour. Wait a minute. Do they understand at all the reciprocity of what's going to happen on that one employee that gets $15 an hour for a low-entry job? That means all the other employees are going to go to the boss and say, oh, you're paying him $15? Well, I'm only at $8.50 right now, so I want a raise. And the manager wants a raise. Everybody wants a raise. It's absolutely going to be like a basketball rolling down the court. Where does it stop, Doug, until that business goes out of business?
Exactly. And I got a friend of mine that works for the state. And they've worked there over 33 years. And they're making around $17 an hour. 33 years.
Yeah.
Now, they bring somebody in that's never done it.
Yep.
First year on the job,
yep.
They're going to give them 15. And here my friend's only getting 17. What are they going to have to do for their wage?
I know what I would do as an employer if I was really in the mode right now of a fast food restaurant or a restaurant in general or a hardware store or whatever. I would say, okay, let's sit down because tonight we're going to trim our sales. We're going to cut back on who is going to work here. We're going to cut back on the hours. We're going to cut back on everything so that I, the owner of this business with my blood, sweat, and tears, I'm taken care of first.
Exactly. You're the one that invested everything into it. I mean, if we don't make any money, a business doesn't make any money like yours, mine, and several small businesses around this area. If we don't make any money, we close the doors.
That's exactly right. And you know what?
Where will the people go to get their service?
And with the terminology, let's close the doors, I'm afraid I got to close the doors here for the day, so I'm going to shut the doors on you, Doug.
Okay, old friend. Good talking to you.
All right, take care of yourself. Thank you. Yep, we're going to close the doors, and we'll open them again tomorrow morning at 8:06 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. God bless you and your family. The way things were, the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.